Hi, media. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday morning. We will have Bruce Cassidy shortly. If you have a question for Coach, you can use that raise hand function at the bottom of your screen. Hey, Coach, got the media here. We'll go first to Steve Conroy.
Hey, Bruce, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Could we just get an update on Kevin first?
Kevin is back home, spent the night at the hospital, went through a number of tests, feeling a little bit better, and that's what we got.
Is he out for tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know which way you're going to go as far as who's going to go in the lineup for him?
Well, the only two healthy guys we have are Tenorti and Vakanainen, so it'll be one of those two.
Okay. And just on, you've obviously got plenty of guys who've been through, these kind of situations before, even some of the young guys. Just what is the message going forward to, to focus on this game and take care of business?
Well, what do you mean these kinds of situations? I mean, having a 3-1 lead?
An elimination game.
Yeah, I mean, for us, nothing changes for us. I mean, we've said all along we're trying to get better every game in this series. We want to get to 4 first, obviously, and that's what's in front of us. We've got 3. It takes 4 to win, so we're not getting ahead of ourselves here. We had an off day today, a travel day, so I'll let the guys take a mental break, and then we'll sit down tomorrow morning and revisit as we've done every game. We've reinforced what we do well, correct what we're not doing right, and make adjustments if need be, and that won't change for tomorrow. I think the leadership group will take care of any message that needs to be said of where we are in the series, and that's how we've approached it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Matt Porter.
Hi, Bruce. You've talked before about Charlie's puck handling ability, kind of in open ice, making good first passes and things like that. I'm curious how you've seen him come along in the short areas, like when he's at the point on the power play, things like that, even over the last 3 games where he's kind of had that role as, up top there.
Well, he's been up there for years, Matt, with different
on that
groups.
unit. Sorry. Yeah.
That unit, he's played a lot with Kretsch. We moved him and Kretsch onto that unit. So in general, it's over the years, it's been Torrey Krug, and we weren't going to change that. Torrey was excellent at his job. He's not here anymore. So it fell on to either, Grzelcyk or McAvoy were the guys we looked at the start of the year. We went with Grizz for the most part. He got hurt. Charlie went in there. We went with 5 forwards. We're going to do whatever is best for the power play unit to score goals. And then when Hall came here, we looked at balancing the groups a little more, putting them over the boards in lines. So that's Bergie's line on one power play and Kretsch is on the other. And Grizz and McAvoy would be on top of each of the unit. And we mix in Mike Riley. So that was the plan. It hasn't changed. We made an adjustment the other day we thought would help us. It did last night. It's not going to change what we ask of Charlie. He's on the top of either unit. Obviously passing over to Pasta for the one-timer is a chemistry thing. If he has Hall over there, who's a left stick, who's more of an attack from the strong side, it becomes a little different because Taylor has to come higher to get the puck in a better spot. So there's little nuances to it that come in practice. He can develop chemistry with both guys that are on that side. Obviously, if it's Krejci, he's a lot like Pasta, so there'd be some similarities there. And those are things he just has to work on getting better at. He's done a nice job. I think the most important thing for Charlie is understanding what the role is up top there, who you're out with, how much you need to do, how much are you a facilitator, how much do you need to drive it, and when to shoot and when to dish. And some of that is just instincts. He has good instincts. When he first got here, Matt, I thought he was more of a guy that wanted to move north-south up top. And it's more of an east-west role. You're the only guy up there, so you're moving between the dots a lot as opposed to going down the half wall. So that's an adjustment he had to make. He's very good going straight down the wall. We've seen it on face-off plays. In that particular power play, it's more open your hips and move each way, and that's something he's really worked hard on and wants to get better at and has.
Thanks.
Yep.
Jimmy Murphy.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good.
Good. Just a couple, was it after game 3? I think Taylor was talking about how goalie Bob gave him some tips that led to his move there on his goal. And I'm just wondering, how much does that go on where he interacts with shooters, so to speak, as opposed to just goalies, kind of giving them scouting tips?
What we do for every pre-scout during the season is we have a goalie sheet that's up in the room. Bob does it. It has strengths, weaknesses, deking tendencies, where goals go in for the most part on him, and rebound control. So there's about 4 or 5 areas, and some players take it to heart. Other guys just want to shoot, right? Play their game. In the playoffs, he's gone through a video with each goaltender. He's gone through 3 now. Vanacek, Anderson, and Samsonov, where it's a little more of a breakdown. There's more video. And in season, there's also a loop that goes around in the room when guys get there for shootouts, which obviously aren't in play in the playoffs, but breakaways can be. So there's avenues for the players to study the goalie, and it's up to them to decide how much they need. And obviously Taylor saw something or got something from Bob, and it helped them a lot. So it's good when you put your all the resources you can to work, and players use them. As a coaching staff, it always makes you feel better. At the end of the day, like I said, that's kind of up to the shooters. We preach hitting the net, and when to shoot to score, when to shoot for rebounds. I think we're doing a better job with that. But that's what goes into it in terms of the pre-scout for the goaltender. For Bob, he may grab a guy every once in a while, Jimmy, after a game, and say, hey, I noticed that you have this look a little bit. Here's what tendencies are for him. But in general, he puts it together, and that's up to the players to take what they want from him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Last one, Chris Ryan.
Hey, Butchie, how are you?
Terrific. How are you?
Also terrific. Wanted to ask you about Grizz and McAvoy. You viewed them through the course of the season as kind of being your optimal pairing, but issues with depth and other pairings seem to have you kind of go away from that. How much did your confidence in Riley and Carlo allow for that to be put together, those guys to be put together, or did you want to do that no matter what to allow for that support for the forwards?
Well, obviously, at the start of the year, we had a plan in place with, Lozon and Zaboral cracking the lineup, how we could complement them, support them the best. And eventually we would go from there, probably give it a certain amount of time, and then see if other pairs work better. Injuries often dictate that. How are they? Performance dictates it. So with Grizz and Charlie, we've always known they play well together. They feed off each other well. They're good friends. They see the game the same way. They can really complement an offensive line and still obviously play good defense. But I think they're at their best when they have an attacking line and a line that can control pucks in the O zone, where they can get involved and make it a 5-man, offensive unit. So bringing it to the Riley Carlo, well, we weren't sure on that because when Riley got here, Carlo was hurt. So we didn't have a long look at that. But what we did see was, we know what Brandon brings, and we started to see what Mike brings. So we thought we had 2 good players that could complement each other. And sometimes you don't know. Sometimes it's oil and water. Sometimes, it works out well. So they've worked at it together, and it's allowed us, to go that route. And Riley played with Miller as well, so we knew we had that if we wanted to keep Grizz and Carlo together. Or Grizz and McAvoy, we could have put Riley with Miller, and Brandon would have had Lozon, but we felt that that pair hadn't had much of a look either. So puck mover Riley with Carlo, I think he's always played better. Brandon, when he's had that type of player with him. And then, we also go back and say, well, his first year he played with Z and they were a shutdown pair. So, and he had a pretty good year. So you don't really know until they get together. And then, we looked at the opposition and went from there.
And finally, for game 5, as you consider what to do with Vakanainen or Tenorti coming into the lineup, do you consider breaking up Carlo and Riley to, apply better support for Cliffy or whoever comes in, or do you want to keep those 2 together as your?
Well, we'll probably just slide him in beside Clifton. Obviously, Cliffy will go to the right side. He has played with Tenorti, I believe, earlier this year when we were down a lot of guys. Vac has been kind of in and out with different guys, right and left, so a little different for him. But that's how we would start it and see how it goes. I mean, we've said this all along. We're not going to wheel a guy in there that hasn't played much and stick him out there for 25 minutes. But, if you can't hide guys either, you can try to support them as best as possible, protect them in certain situations. But when you go on the road and you don't have last line change, there's certain matchups you're just going to have to live with and expect the player to get it done. And whether it's Jared or Vac, they've both played a certain amount of games, so they're both good players, and I'm sure Cliffy will help them. Cliffy's been in the heat of the battle here now for for a few games. So that should be a positive for whoever he's partnered with. And if obviously if the game goes along and we don't like it, we'll switch it. We've done that before. Not afraid to do that and see where it goes from there.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Thank you, media.